Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the weekly MMA Cycles Market Update. Today is Wednesday, March 5th, 2025. I'm Gianni DePocia, your host, and we're seeing a pretty impressive rebound take place here in stocks. Let's go ahead and jump right into it. We did just have Venus go retrograde over the weekend, and Venus is known to be one of the most powerful planets with corresponding to important cycle highs and lows. And we did have a pretty strong sell-off yesterday. I was actually on the phone with Ray talking about this market in the whole tariff situation, and we commented about how Jupiter rules international and long distance trade, but Venus rules the treaty of itself, the legal agreement, the legal document. And I was telling Ray, and he agreed with me. All these threats of tariffs, I don't know if they're going to last because these announcements, the implementation of these tariffs went into effect under Venus retrograde. I would be on the lookout for a potential resolution by the time that Venus goes direct in a few weeks here. But we already did see some backtracking on the tariff front today. Markets are liking the news. The Dow is rallying off of what could be a higher low compared to the trend. And we're going to talk about this in the weekly report that's coming up. And we're talking about it already in the daily reports, but there is a cycle scenario that includes actually the November 4th low that could actually give bulls some ground to stand on here in the Dow. Over the weekend we do have Sun trine Mars. And so that could give some optimism to markets in the near term. But you take a look at the NASDAQ, the technical picture is not as strong. Last week we had Vipka held on, and she was talking about this January 13th low, and we took that out to the downside, and that is raising some concerns. But there is still some of that intermarket bullish divergence in place. So NASDAQ and the tech has some work to do, but there's a lot of parts moving on this global chessboard of markets. I do want to actually start off by looking at the euro here, aside from stocks, because we're seeing an absolutely explosive move to the upside here in the euro, and the timing of this couldn't be better considering that Venus, ruler of currencies, just went retrograde. You really can't make this up, guys. The correlations are impossible to ignore. And let me just tell you this, 4 cents doesn't seem like a lot in our everyday lives, but 4 cents in the currency market is absolutely huge. And it does lead me to believe that perhaps there could be some sort of resolution to the conflict in Ukraine that is coming about. Now, I will say this because I talked about the tariff factor to the agreements. I would almost rather see the agreement or any peace deal brokered, on the Ukraine front happen after Venus retrograde. I don't know, just maybe I'm being a little bit too concerned about that, but I think that if you're looking to come to an agreement and know each party's sides, I think Venus being retrograde, it would help. It would not help. I think you would want it to be direct. So we'll see. Probably the peace talks. If the peace talks happen during Venus retrograde, that's a good sign. But the actual signing of the agreement, we'll have to see when that happens. But the weakness in the dollar, this has been persistent here in the dollar yen as well. This has been a big tailwind for gold and silver prices. Gold seeing a nice rally here. Silver also seeing a nice rally. So we're kind of in that sweet spot right now where, a lot of times when the dollar is selling off the way that it is, you do see stocks start to rally. So we'll see if this dollar sell-off continues and how much it could help stocks. We are seeing this good news kind of trickle into the crypto front. Bitcoin did satisfy some of our downside targets and our cyclical timing targets. And this low was not far from Venus retrograde as well. So this is pretty important and could be very significant for Bitcoin here. So we'll have to keep a very close watch on that, as a low of significance could be complete. Similar with Ethereum. We did have a situation yesterday where Ethereum futures made a new low on the week, but Bitcoin futures did not. So that could be very noteworthy. In other markets, bonds are coming back down from their highs. We did have a jobs report that came in today, rather weak. And so We actually are starting to see some of the Fed rate cut odds get moved up. Previously we were looking at June, July, around the time that Jupiter was going to square Saturn for the third and final time on June 15th. But now it looks like the May meeting in about 2 months' time it's a toss-up. It's about 50-50 chance that the Fed cuts rates then. So we'll have to keep an eye on this. But bonds are selling off after an impressive run. In T-notes, the T-note market actually did take out its high from December, which is a good sign. But you take a look at what's happening in oil. Oil getting hit really hard today, and that's something to keep a close eye on because I think that's a big tailwind for bond prices to continue higher. And historically, when bond prices rally, interest rates come down. That's good for sectors like technology. But it's still the case that the Chinese market is the one I'm most excited about. As US stocks are just starting to turn into positive territory, you have large cap Chinese names up over 4%, almost 4.5% on the day. This is not something to ignore. As we've been talking about our monthly Shanghai reports. The odds of Chinese markets coming out of long-term lows continue to strengthen. So this is a market that I would continue to keep a very close eye on because it has displayed a tendency in the past to exhibit very strong bull markets. So I don't think it's something we should ignore. Crypto kind of ties into it. Precious metals tie into it too. I know a lot of people here like to pay attention to copper and copper miners. Copper also seeing a nice rally today that has to do with Chinese stimulus as well. So it looks like we're going into an environment of a lot of stimulus. I think that has a lot to do with Jupiter square Saturn. And right now, it looks like it could be leading to a temporary low in U.S. stocks. We'll see if it holds. But in other international markets like Europe and in China, it's looking even better. So it really is a paradigm shift that we have to adjust to because for the last decade or so, U.S. stocks have been the place to be. They have outperformed their international counterparts by a very wide margin. But I think we need to stay open-minded to the fact that international stocks are due for their run in the sun, and the time may be here. So that's what I'm looking at right now. Thank you so much for watching. Please hit the like button and subscribe button. We have videos on a weekly basis except for next week because this weekend the MMA team and myself will be at the Cosmic Patterns Convergence Conference in Orlando, Florida. So we're going to be doing a special video update from the conference this weekend, taking some highlights of the various MMA analysts. We're all going to be together in Orlando, Florida. You can still sign up. Time is running out, but hope that you can be there. And it's actually going to delay our monthly cycles report by a week. So that's not going to be out until the following week. But aside from that, everyone, check out Wiebke Hald's monthly tech report. It's been very popular, excellent feedback so far. She really nailed the sell-off in tech stocks and what's happening in NVIDIA. It fell to new lows. So I would encourage you to check that out as well for some excellent insights on the MMA methodologies. So thank you so much for watching, everyone. We'll see you next time. Take care.